Sir, thank you so much. I have another question about your connection with probably how many fighters of Polish roots you got in your life?
Well, let's think about it. Of course, Andrew Galata.
That's first,
is
always.
the first guy, and Adamek, of course, is the second guy. And I'm trying to think of the other famous Polish guys, and I just can't think of who they might be at this time. But I know that I've done a lot of Polish fighters over the years. I can't think of the big names offhand. And to be honest with you, at this stage of my career, when you're up around 900 world title fights, a lot of things just, you know, when I see Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, and all those years, they all kind of all come together. Roberto Duran, they all come together. The great years with Mike Tyson, especially the early Mike Tyson, it all comes together. The Muhammad Ali years when I broadcast the fight in Kinshasa, Zaire, the Rumble in the Jungle, the largest telecast in the history of broadcasting at the time. I was the lead announcer in that fight that went to 1 billion people live. Now, when you sit down and do a telecast and you stop and think you're going to 1 billion people around the world, it's pretty exciting. You know, I often sit down and call a championship fight, and it won't be an exception when I do Wilfredo and Vasquez and Hernandez on Saturday night. And I sit down and I say, how lucky am I? I'm doing a sport that I love, and this is for the championship of the world. And especially when it's the heavyweight championship. I often say to my viewers, I say, you know, I don't know where you are or what you do for a living, but there's nothing else I'd rather be doing at this moment in history, at this particular time, than being right where I am right now, right in the middle of the biggest sporting event of the day. And oftentimes of the century.
Perfect. But sir, my question is, you have a connection today, exactly, with another prospect, young Polish fighter. They call the Machine, Przemysław Majewski. Tomorrow you see what's going on, how he's strong, how is his technician. But tell me in a few words, how do you think, in your experience, this fighter, it's a good fighter, have future? What do you feel?
I haven't seen enough of him. I've only seen him fight one time. Majewski is a guy who's first off, he's a dedicated athlete. That's most important. Second off, he's a gifted athlete. He has all the tools. Now, as he rises through the ranks and has more and more success, can he keep his head? Can he be a strong family man like Tomasz Adamek? All of these things are important. I mean, Galata had a lot of success, and he kind of lost his I don't know, I don't want to say his mind, but he lost whatever it is that makes you be a champion. Same thing happened to Oliver McCall, who became heavyweight champion of the world, and he couldn't handle it, got involved with drugs. And now look at this. This is Oliver McCall's heavyweight championship of the world ring that he gave me when he knocked out Lennox Lewis. It's a wonderful gift, and the reason I wear that is because it reminds me how thin the division is from being the heavyweight champion of the world and being in jail or incarcerated because of drugs or other physical problems. And you know, he had that mental breakdown when he fought the second time against Lennox Lewis. So I wear that ring in dedication. See what a fine line it can be. My other ring that I wear is my own Hall of Fame ring when I was inducted in the Hall of Fame, and they're great souvenirs to have, and I'm very proud of the fact that I've been kind of honored to be considered amongst the very best in what I do in the world. It's wonderful to get that kind of recognition. But going back to your fighter from Poland, I think I want to see more of him. I met him today for the very first time. I interviewed him. He's a lovely fella. And I think you start out with having, a great athlete, and then you mix in a really good guy. And like Adamek, the family, the ability, the dedication, all of that will come together. And only time will tell. I can't predict that. If I could, I'd be a very wealthy man, because I live in Las Vegas, and I can bet on every fight, and I do.
Right, sir. Last question. Do you hear any times name of Paul Wallach?
I know the name Paul Wallach, but I don't know much about him. So I don't want to try to comment on something that I'm not really familiar with for the Polish people. I want to see more of Paul myself.
Right, I understand. Sir, can we read your book? Just tell us.
I've written a book, but my life is much more complicated than just boxing. I have a life in the military. I had a life where I worked in clandestine services for the United States government. And I wrote about all of this and these things, and I have my life in the cattle business. I have farms in Ireland. I have farms in Australia, New Zealand. I raise cattle in Argentina, Brazil, in the United States. I have a bull operation in Mississippi and a couple of farms in Nevada. And that's my avocation. I love the cattle business. And any of you farmers that are watching in Poland, if you keep cattle, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I never met a cattleman any place in the world that didn't love cattle, and I'm the same way. And so that's my avocation, and while I make a little money at that, broadcasting supports everything. So, these are the phases of my life. And I wrote the book one time, and my lawyer said, if you release this, you're going to jail. So I'll leave that in your hands. So my book is locked up. In that, by the way, I predicted that we would have the new Pope. And at the time I wrote my book, one of the greatest Polish men of all time, Pope John Paul II, was the Holy Father in the Vatican. I knew him. I was in his apartment. I have a photograph with my parish priest, Father McCabe, who's a chaplain in the military, the same military outfit I'm in. And just recently, I had lunch last Sunday in Constantinople or Istanbul with His Holiness Bartholomew I, who's the Patriarch of the Orthodox Church. So I've been quite lucky to meet these extraordinary men. But going back to Poland, when Cardinal Ratzinger would meet with the Holy Father on a daily basis, we knew that there was a good chance that he would become the next Pope. And about 6 months before he became the new Pope at the sad death of Pope John Paul II, I had lunch in his apartment in the Vatican. So I've had extraordinary things like that have happened in my life, and it's all happened because of the fame and recognition I get from boxing. I don't seek the fame and recognition. I love the sport, and to me, when that red light goes on and I go on television, I just consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Exactly, sir. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. I still, from your life, 20 minutes. Thank you so much.
No, you didn't steal time. I'm glad to share the great gifts that God has given me with the Polish people and be on Polish television. And by the way, my military company, which is the oldest military company in the United States, is called the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Massachusetts. The captain commanding is a Polish guy by the name of Paul Koval. He's the captain next year, and he is taking us to Poland and to Ireland. So I'll be in uniform parading in the streets of Poland someplace next year with my military company. And when we get close to that, I hope you call me and interview me, because it's this time, the last week in September, first week in October every year, and I'll tell you all about the military side of my life, which is also quite extraordinary.
Perfect. That's perfect. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Thank you, and the pleasure's mine, and God bless Poland and the Polish people.
Thank you. Okay, the legend is here. And what do you think about the future legend, Patrick Majewski? Can you say a couple words about the fight, what you see tonight? Probably first time, yeah?
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen Patrick, and if you're calling me the legend, this is the guy who's going to be the legend. He's a future Tomasz Adamek, who I think will be the world heavyweight champion before it's all over. I loved everything I saw, Patrick. I love your desire. I love your conditioning. When times get tough, you get hit in the face, you didn't panic. You went after the guy. This guy has a tremendous amount of ability, and he's going to be a world champion. I want to be along for the ride. I want to follow you. I think you're a terrific fighter. Both Benny Ricardo and Jimmy Lennon and I, who've seen a lot of fights. Tonight was my 895th world title fight to call on television, and to call your fight was a thrill for me.
Thank you.
All right.
I know also I've made a lot of mistakes, but that's how I'm in the big process of the learning. I'm going to get back to the gym, work on it, and I'm just happy I won this fight.
Well, you're right in your prime of life at 30 years of age. You get that whole amateur background behind you. There's certain things that you do as an amateur that you're going to develop more as a pro, sitting down in your punches, throwing hard body shots. I saw indications of a lot of those things tonight, that he has the ability. You'll learn more with with each fight. I mean, you're a young professional fighter, in spite of the fact you have all of that amateur.
That is the things. I know I got a long way to go in a very short amount of time. You know, I'm 30 years old. I gotta just keep stepping up.
Well, the next 2 years are the prime of your life, so you have plenty of time. As long as you have a promoter that's moving you every month, you should be fighting now. Every month, every 2 months at least.
Marius Covers, the Global Boxing Gym.
Yeah, Mario I know runs the Global Boxing Gym, and he'll do a great job for you. And if he can keep you busy, because the better you get, the less good fighters are going to want to fight him, and that becomes a problem as the fighter progresses. Because you got to be ready when you get your title shot. You're a year away from that. Get as many fights as you can. You have the ability, you have the desire, and I love you as a human being. You're a great kid. All the best. I wish you the best of everything. And for all you people in Poland, I want you to enjoy watching the rise of a superstar. I believe, and again, I've done over 10,000 fights in my 45-year career. I know a fighter when I see one. This man is a fighter. You're going to love him in Poland.
Thank you so much.